Hello, Barcelona family, like and subscribe to the channel to know everything about Madrid. In this video, we have a huge scoop concerning Barcelona, but before that, we need to talk about other very important topics concerning our beloved club. Let's move on to the first one. Barcelona is advancing with determination and conviction in the transfer market with increasingly coherent strategic planning and under the guidance of a sports management that has known how to read the moment the club is experiencing. The Blaugrana entity has activated one of the most powerful names that could join this summer, Marcus Rashford. The English international finds himself once again strongly in the Barcelona orbit, and this time, it's not just a market rumor, but a real possibility that is being prepared behind the scenes with intensity and seriousness. The Barcelona supporters are already beginning to envision it. The talent, speed, and character of Rashford could soon be tinged with blue and garnet. Deco, the club's sports director, recently met in the county city with the footballers' representatives, a discreet meeting, far from media spotlights, but with a very clear objective, to explore the conditions that would allow the incorporation of the English striker into the new sports project led by Hansi Flick. The negotiations are not closed, but the mere fact that both parties have initiated formal contacts indicates that the interest is firm and goes far beyond mere speculation. This is not the first time that Rashford's name has been associated with the Catalan club. Already during the last winter market, his arrival on loan had been considered, but economic restrictions and the low flexibility of financial fair play had prevented progress on that occasion. However, the panorama has changed significantly. The responsible and progressive management of resources has allowed Barcelona to think again about quality reinforcements without endangering the stability of the project, and Rashford fits perfectly into the new sports model under construction. The Manchester United striker is at a pivotal moment in his career. After several years as a key player in the Old Trafford team, his situation has changed with the arrival of the new coach, Ruben Amorim. The Portuguese technician does not consider him a priority in his scheme, and the English club would be open to negotiating a departure for a price close to €40 million, an amount which, although not excessive for the player's level, remains above what Barcelona can assume in a direct payment. For this reason, the club is considering an alternative formula, a loan with an option to buy. This model would allow incorporating Rashford without a large initial outlay and would offer the player a golden opportunity to relaunch his career in a competitive and demanding context like that of the camp. The operation would also allow the club to evaluate his performance over a full season before making a definitive decision on his transfer in ownership. But beyond the economic and contractual details, what is truly relevant in this story is the desire of the footballer. Rashford wants to play for Barcelona. He has expressed this to his closest entourage and reiterated it in conversations in recent days. His admiration for the Blaugrana style of play, for the history of the club, and for the county city has led him to prioritize this option over other offers he has on the table, and this, for any operation of this magnitude, is a determining factor. From a sporting point of view, his arrival would be excellent news for the team. Marcus Rashford is a top-level player, with experience in European competitions, capable of deciding matches, and with a very complete profile. He can play on both wings, as a centre-forward, or even as a second striker. He has goals, speed, dribbling, a capacity for sacrifice, and notable tactical intelligence. His incorporation would offer the team offensive variants that, today, are indispensable to compete at the highest level, both in the league and in Europe. Hansi Flick, who is already working on the design of the team for the next season, has given the green light to his transfer. The German technician considers that Rashford would bring verticality, overflow, and goals, three fundamental elements to provide the team with greater offensive depth. Furthermore, his profile matches the new coach's idea of play, who seeks a more intense team, faster in transitions, and more decisive in the final meters. But Rashford's arrival would also send a clear message to the fanbase and the rest of Europe: Barcelona is back. After years of reconstruction, economic adjustments, and institutional redefinition, the club is moving again with ambition, intelligence, and a defined roadmap. The transfer of the English striker would not only be a great sporting incorporation but also a declaration of intentions, a warning to the navigation that the Blaugrana shield retains the power to seduce the great talents of world football. On the player's side, the signals are also positive. Rashford has communicated to his club his desire to leave if Barcelona's interest materializes. He is ready to lower his salary demands to facilitate the operation and has asked his representatives to prioritize the agreement with the Catalan club. His commitment to the operation is total, which generates confidence in the camp offices. The next few days will be key to knowing if this mutual interest translates into an effective incorporation, But what can already be said with certainty is that the scenario is prepared, the actors are aligned, and the will of both parties points in the same direction. And this, in modern football, is more than half the way. The Blaugrana fanbase, which dreams of seeing a competitive, exciting, and protagonistic team in Europe again, has reasons to believe that Rashford's arrival can mark a before and after. A footballer of his level not only strengthens the team but also generates enthusiasm, hope, and faith in the project, because beyond the goals he can score or the decisive passes he can provide, Rashford represents that mix of youth, talent, and experience that every great team needs to reconquer titles. And now, to the entire Barcelona fanbase, what do you think of the possible arrival of Marcus Rashford at Barcelona? Do you think this is the type of transfer the team needs to make a leap in quality? Does the idea of seeing the English striker at the camp, facing rivals, scoring goals, and celebrating with our jersey excite you? This type of decision paves the way for a project. Rashford is not just a name, he is a symbol that the club is thinking big again, that the reconstruction is on the right path, that with work, planning, and ambition, we can return to the top. The future of Barcelona is being written now, and the name of Marcus Rashford can be one of its first great chapters. Visca el Barça and Visca the hope of a Blaugrana future full of dreams. The second piece of news concerns an important decision about our beloved club. The new sports project of Barcelona is beginning to show clear signs of ambition, planning, and future projection. In this new phase that the club is entering, led by Hansi Flick from the bench and with a sports management determined to recover the essence that made the team great for decades, young, talented, and success-hungry names are coming back to the forefront. And in this context, there is one name that has made a strong entry into the Blaugrana agenda: Valentín Barco. The young Argentine, owned by Brighton in English and only 20 years old, is the new priority target of the Catalan entity to strengthen several areas of the field and provide the team with versatility that seems key in a season expected to be long and demanding. Far from being an improvised or secondary operation, Barco's has been meticulously studied by the club's sports department, with favorable reports from multiple fronts and with the full support of Hansi Flick, who has already given his approval to the transfer, convinced of the natural fit of the Argentine in his scheme. Valentín Barco is not just any promise. His recent stint in European football, although brief, was enough to put him on the radar of the big clubs. After a complicated adaptation period during his loan to Sevilla, he found continuity and maturity at Strasbourg in France, where he played 15 matches in which he showed all his potential. Not only did he stand out for his technical skill and game vision, but also for a strong personality, capable of making correct decisions under pressure, and for his aggressiveness in recovery, something that has seduced the recruiters of several European clubs. However, while Chelsea has explored his possible transfer, it is Barcelona that has taken a decisive step forward, positioning itself as the favorite to conclude the operation. From the camp, his tactical versatility is particularly valued, a quality that has been key in the evaluation of the technical body. Barco can act as a left-back in a classic system, but also as a midfielder in a positional midfield, offering ball exit, progression, and refined technique. This dual footballing dimension makes him a highly appreciated profile by Flick, who bets on players capable of offering multiple solutions during matches without losing tactical coherence. In the Blaugrana sports city, several technical meetings have taken place in recent weeks to address the summer transfers, and the name of Barco has gained strong ground. According to internal sources, the analysis of the Argentine has been qualified as very positive, both in technical aspects and in attitude, maturity, and predisposition to work, a profile that fits the type of players that Barcelona wants to build for the future. Young people who shine not only with the ball but also understand the model, respect the club's values, and are ready to be part of a sports reconstruction process. The club's bet on Barco is not fortuitous. It is a move that responds to a clear philosophy: to incorporate young talent that can develop in the Barcelona model without requiring large economic outlays or resorting to the market with temporary solutions. Furthermore, his transfer also responds to a strategic criterion in a context where market opportunities must be seized intelligently. Acquiring a player like Barco before his stock soars is a masterstroke, and even more so when other important clubs like Chelsea have already started to move, although without formalizing an offer. The sports management, aware of the player's contractual situation and the positive disposition of his entourage, has already activated preliminary contacts with Brighton to explore a possible loan with an obligatory purchase option, a formula that would allow the expense to be spread over several seasons. This financial structure has already been successfully used by the club in other recent cases and, in this case, would allow the incorporation of a footballer with international projection without compromising the economic stability of the project. But perhaps the most important thing of all is the player's willingness. According to sources close to Valentín Barco's entourage, the Argentine is enthusiastic about the possibility of wearing the Barcelona jersey. He knows the history of the club, admires its philosophy of play, and knows that, in the current sports context, he could have minutes and protagonism from the first moment. It is not just about making the leap to a big European club, but doing so in the team that most identifies with his way of understanding football, and this, for someone who is still in the midst of a training process, makes a fundamental difference. For his part, Hansi Flick has also shared his vision on the type of players he wants to incorporate. Young talent who understand the game, have the ability to learn quickly, and do not come just to fill a spot, but to compete. In this sense, the German coach considers that Barco can be a key piece within the new gear, not as a substitute or distant bet, but as an immediate and useful asset for the team. His capacity for sacrifice, physical deployment, and competitive mentality are arguments that the technician has highlighted in meetings with the technical secretariat. At the institutional level, this type of movement also has a direct impact on the Blaugrana social mass. After several seasons marked by instability and lack of a clear direction in some transfers, betting on a young player like Barco is a statement of intent. It is about telling the fanbase, we are building something new, but we are doing it with logic, with criteria, and with players who believe in our shield. It is not about transferring for the sake of transferring, but about transferring with meaning. And in this sense, there is no doubt that Valentín Barco represents a strategic opportunity, not only for his quality but for his age, mentality, and availability to integrate into a collective system. A hungry player, eager to stand out, and who could find in Barcelona the ideal ecosystem to exploit all his potential, especially in a team where they seek to recover the classic automatisms of positional play, short passing, high tempo, and clean exit from the back. It is evident that the path is not yet closed. The conditions are set. Now, it is a matter of time, strategy, and moving the pieces well to conclude a transfer that could be remembered as one of the most judicious decisions of this new era. And now, Barcelona fanbase, we throw an open question from the heart of this exciting project. What do you think about the arrival of Valentín Barco at Barcelona? Does it excite you to see the club looking intelligently at the South American market again? Does the idea of building a new team with young players who arrive not only with quality but also with commitment excite you? The third piece of news concerns an explosive movement within the club. The revolution taking shape in the Blaugrana locker room is beginning to materialize with firm steps and bold decisions that reflect the ambition to reposition the club at the summit of European football. One of the positions on the field that has required the most attention in recent seasons is the right back, a role that has seen many players come and go without finding that decisive player, the profile that combines defensive solidity, offensive progression, and the ability to interpret the positional play so characteristic of the Blaugrana identity. Today, with Hansi Flick's project taking shape and an increasingly excellence-focused sports planning, the name Achraf Hakimi resonates strongly as the major summer target. And this is not just a rumor. The Moroccan international will not continue at Paris Saint-Germain. His agents are already in direct contact with the management of the Catalan club, and the player has openly expressed that playing for Barcelona would be an honor. This kind of news does not come out of nowhere. There is meticulous work behind it, a clear strategy in the sports management, and, above all, a technical conviction that comes from the very top. Hansi Flick is personally involved in the operation. The German technician, a winner of continental titles and a connoisseur of the football elite, did not hesitate to convey his request to the management during multiple internal meetings. Flick reiterated the need to strengthen this right flank with a top-level profile. For him, Achraf Hakimi is not just another option, but the piece his model needs to function at full capacity. The figure of the Moroccan represents much more than just reinforcement. His career proves it, trained in the best academies, with experience in the main European leagues, titles in his showcase, and potential still to be exploited. At 26 years old, Hakimi brings together all the characteristics that Barcelona needs in this ambitious reconstruction phase. His time at Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan, and PSG has forged a profile of a total footballer, capable of making a difference on both sides of the field. It's not just about speed and power, which he possesses in abundance, but also tactical intelligence, game reading, and the ability to integrate into a demanding collective structure. In a football landscape where fullbacks are no longer just defenders but generators of superiority, Hakimi is an asset that can multiply the team's offensive possibilities and, at the same time, maintain defensive balance. What attracts the most attention, however, is the attitude of the player himself. Far from being distant or evasive about the possibility of landing in the county city, he has made it clear that he feels honored by Barcelona's interest and that he would be ready to take the step if the conditions align. Playing for Barcelona would be an honor, he said recently in a private conversation that leaked to the sports press. And although his formative past is linked to the eternal rival, he has shown that what truly motivates him is being part of a project that allows him to continue growing, competing at the highest level, and leaving a mark at a club with history, identity, and style. In the club's offices, this predisposition is deeply valued, not only for what it means to have a world-top player actively interested in wearing the Blaugrana jersey, but because it reinforces the perception that Barcelona is becoming an attractive destination again. In a context of economic limitations and extreme sports demands, attracting a player of Hakimi's stature represents a demonstration of strength and credibility. The sports management, led by Deco, is already working on formulas to make the operation viable, exploring different options, from a direct transfer with staggered payments to a loan with an obligatory purchase option. It is known that PSG is willing to sell, provided the offer is reasonable, and the player is ready to collaborate economically to facilitate his exit. The sports project presented to him is clear: to be an undisputed starter, a key piece in a system that needs his depth, his ability to arrive, his defensive sacrifice, and his impact in the final third of the field. Hansi Flick has already worked on schemes where the right back does not just defend but initiates transitions, participates in circulation, and breaks lines like an additional winger. Hakimi not only fits this idea but takes it to a new level. His physical power, endurance, flair for detecting spaces, and maturity in decision-making make him a constant threat. There are not many fullbacks in the world who have his level of offensive unbalance without sacrificing defensive order, and this duality is pure gold for a coach like Flick. Beyond the sports aspect, the transfer would carry enormous symbolic weight. We are not talking about just any player. We are talking about a footballer who was trained in the environment of the eternal rival, who has triumphed in other European giants, and who is now ready to come to Camp Nou to defend the Blaugrana colors with pride. This gesture speaks of professionalism, maturity, and also a transformation in the perception that the football world has of Barcelona. When a player like Hakimi expresses that coming to our club would be an honor, he acknowledges that here there is something more than a sports project. There is history, identity, a unique style that continues to be a global reference. The Barcelona fanbase has reasons to be excited, as we are not talking about an experimental transfer, a bet on the future, or an unknown. We are talking about a present and elite footballer, with a trajectory in the Champions League, with experience in high-tension matches, with the necessary hierarchy to lead from the flank. Furthermore, his arrival could help raise the level of internal competitiveness and bring silent leadership, the kind that is not given with words but with consistent performances and total commitment in every match. From a gameplay model perspective, Hakimi is a perfect fit. His ability to act as a third center-back in the defensive phase, to open the field on exit, to break through the inside when the winger holds the width, and to arrive dangerously in the opponent's box makes him a luxury joker. Flick could even use him in variants with a back three where his corridor ability would be maximized. Not only are we transferring a top player, but we are also resolving a key position for years, as Hakimi, beyond his immediate performance, is at the ideal age to lead this flank for at least 5 seasons. And now, as Barcelona fans, I ask you the question: what do you think about seeing Hakimi running down the right flank of the field, heart and soul in every action? Do you think he can be one of those transfers that mark an era? Are we ready to see a player trained in the environment of the rival become a reference of our new project? Leave us your opinion in the comments.